Hey, welcome back. It's a cold Saturday morning here. Thought we would take advantage of this time early on a Saturday morning to go through some comic books and a little bit. The Saturday morning cartoons start on the Group Therapy podcast channel, and then Dr. Silver Age and Shannon will have their live broadcast, and Donald Trump has some live speech he's giving this morning, and I think one this afternoon or evening in South Carolina. So there's a lot to view on the television. But yeah, usually I don't do these early morning broadcasts, but got a lot going on. All right. Well, so as I recall, I have to get through some more D comics that start with the letter D in order to get rid of this box into the other room. So I've got two short boxes here of comics that need to be absorbed into the bigger collection, which is why I'm going through all of them. And looks like I need to put a Defenders comic and a Deathlock comic in next. Yeah, I've got a lot of organizing I've got to do. Let's get this turned on. Yeah, the app, the weather app says that it's snowing outside. It is not snowing. But they say there's a 100% chance of snow today. Not significant snow, but turning on lights so we can look at these comics. All right, exciting. Well, let's get some more lights going. Yeah, we're about to get into the Defenders. Let's get some more lights. All right. When we last left off, we'd gotten through DC Superstars. Yeah, that's about where we were. We were looking at DC Superstars. Did we look at Secret Origins of Supervillains? It seems like we did. I don't really remember. Yeah, I showed you that because then later the Hunt. Yeah. All right. Go back to the last episode. You'll see what I'm talking about. Okay. And then there's a whole bunch of these books which I don't really need to show you. They're like, they tell you about all the DC heroes and villains. There's a page on the Justice Society. It's like an encyclopedia. It probably is inspired by the people into Dungeons and Dragons at the time that had these manuals that showed you all the characters and what their vulnerabilities were and everything. So there's some Dave Stevens art in some of these, and some good artwork. Dave Stevens, I believe, drew us Catwoman. But anyway, there's a bunch of these here that I just forgotten from dollar bins over the years. So I'm not going to show them all to you. Otherwise, this would be a very boring video. Not that these are boring comics. Right? Oh, I've got more than I realized. And then I was told that this is a good comic. I don't know, Deceased. It's one of these, Marvel did a Marvel Zombies comic, and I guess DC did a comic where everybody's dead and a zombie or something. Um, History of the DC Universe, Wolfman and Perez. That's a great name, Wolfman. I wish my last name was Wolfman. That's just a great name. Now, Orloff is not my actual real last name, but it is a family name. It was my great grandmother, my great, was it great or great grand, one of those grandmothers on my father's side was named Bertha Orloff. So maybe I should have my name legally changed to Orloff. It sounds a lot cooler. Here's Christmas with the Superheroes. I heard yesterday that they're canceling the Teen, well, they don't call it Teen Titans, the Titans TV series and the Doom Patrol TV series. They're being canceled after this season because I think they're starting everything over. Okay, what do we have here? DC Superstar Holiday Special. All the superheroes are traveling to see the baby Jesus. Cain and Abel and Sergeant Rock is going to see the baby Jesus, and even Jonah Hex has heard from an angel on high that Christ is born. Christ is born. This is one of those little freebie things that I just saved it because I like the look of these figures. I don't think I have. Do I have that Wonder Woman? I should. That's really cool. I like the Alex Toth, however you pronounce the design. I always pronounce it Toth, but I guess it's Toth. Here's DC, the Masterwork series of great comic book artist, Frank Frazetta. Oh, here's another one of those deceased books. Dead Planet 1. Why do I own this? I have no memory of buying this. I don't have any clue why that's in here. It's kind of embarrassing. DC Universe Legacies, the golden age of heroism begins. It looks like it's a Justice Society comic. Okay, now we get into Dead Man. These are Dead Man reprints by Neal Adams. Yeah, so it's affordable way to read this stuff, which is great. That was one. This is issue 2. Yeah, this was great stuff. Yeah, Neal Adams was, I tell you, late 60s, being a comic book person, which I was just a little, basically learning to walk, but, oh, I've got 2 copies of that. It would have been a great time, you know, all these cool new artists coming along like Neal Adams and Barry Smith, and here's issue 3. Yeah, so anyway. I don't have issue 4 apparently. Here's issue 5. I don't know why I don't have issue. You know, I was buying these off the stands when they were new. I must have not seen that one come out, or something happened. I don't know. Here's a newer Dead Man comic. Which I'll get bagged and boarded someday, possibly. Okay, and then there was this Dead Man comic where he kind of looks like Joe Biden on the cover. It's Kelly Jones. Kelly Jones is kind of like the poor man's Bernie Wrightson. I mean, I'm not insulting Kelly Jones, but yes, Kelly Jones. Okay. Here is Death, the High Cost of Living, #1, which I think was the only Sandman comic I bought when Sandman was a thing, because I just liked the design of the character and it looked interesting. I guess I saw a poster in the comic shop. I thought, well, I'll pick up this Death series. You know. And here's Death. I hate these covers, man. This art school shit. The inside art isn't as bad. It's actually good. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you love this. It just doesn't look like a comic book to me. The inside art, you know, she's drawn to look like this cute goth girl. This was I believe, a free. I remember needing to buy this. This was a giveaway at the comic store checkout counter. Got this at Lone Star Comics. It's just it's a thing about AIDS. And, oh my God. She's teaching you how to put a condom on a banana. Damn. That's when. Their comic books are for adults too. Yes, of course. I mean, I never really read the Sandman series. I watched the TV show with my wife, and I could tell, okay, there's a good story there hidden underneath all this very intentional recasting everybody so they're all an alphabet type person. But, you know, that's kind of when the comic industry just, I don't know. I like the comics that I read as a kid in the 70s when they were, I don't know, man. I'd rather read a Harvey comic any day of the week than all this adult art school shit. And I have no idea why I own a Deadpool Max comic. How did this get in my collection? I have no. I think from a dollar bin. I think maybe because I saw the movie and then I thought, well, is this Deadpool character really this extreme in the comic book? You know, and I guess maybe he is in these X-rated Max. I mean, they're kind of X-rated. They're dirty comics. When they put this Max label on them, that means they're really violent and dirty. Oh, here's another copy of that Death, the High Cost of the banana instruction video. I don't know. People collect that, maybe. Maybe people were speculating on all that, and then the TV show, I don't know. Did people like the TV show? I'm sure some people did. Deathlock #1. This is a 90s. I see it's all silvery. By the light of the silvery moon. It's still not daybreak here in Mount Gratu. There's Deathlock, book 1 of 4. These are books that... The real Deathlock books are part of... What was he in? Marvel Spotlight, something like that. These are 90s books. And so here's one of these covers. Looks like a New Mutants cover, all fancy for the art school crowd. This character was a real popular character with kids in the 90s. Death's Head. I guess it's a British Death's Head too. I don't know. No one remembers him now, but I remember someone wanted me to do a painting of this character for their son, and because he was all into it back in the 90s, and so I remember painting the character. But other than that, I don't know anything about Death's Head. Oh, here's more Deathlock. Why is Death's Head in the middle of Deathlock? Death's Head should be after all the Deathlock comics. So anyway, Deathlock was a great character. Maybe not in this time period. People have no collectors, speculators, whatever, have no interest in this character. This time period, these are like dollar bin books, like very easily, these Deathlock books. Deathlock was cool in the 70s, but this is 20 years later. Here are these books. Here's Deathstroke, who was originally called the Terminator in the Teen Titans, New Teen Titans comic, and then the movie came out, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, so they called him Deathstroke the Terminator. Now I think they just call him Deathstroke. Anyway, fantastic. And then there's this, whoa, what the fuck? Don't you do that? Oh, here's more shit. Okay. Here's this Deadpool comic. Damn, this is going to be a terrible episode with these shitty comics. Deathlock. Okay, another Deathlock. Okay, Deathlock. At this point, I don't even care if it's... these are books I'm putting in from those extra boxes. I have no love for the 1990s. I don't care about it. The 90s, was that the 80s? I was mainly buying reprint books. I was buying Hate and 8-Ball, and I had, and I would very often keep trying my old favorite books and try to see, is it good again yet? But it wasn't that I outgrew them, it's that the comics had turned into shit. And, okay, here's something cool. Here's Date with Debbie, which is a DC Archie type book. Looks like I paid $4 for this from a comic store in Fort Worth. It has a special Meet America's Typical Teenager, Maureen McCormick from the Brady Bunch. Really, this should be under DA. But that would... I'll just put it under... I've got it filed here like it's Debbie, D-E-B. Okay, we'll leave it here. That's too much trouble right now. Let's get this Death's Head book. Death's Head would be after Deathlock. Death's Head would be before Deathstroke. I got this because it looked cool. I thought the artwork looked cool. I don't know if it was a Saturday morning cartoon or a line of toys. I could open up the book and try to find out, but too early in the morning for that. Here's the thrilling origin issue. Everything I'm showing you today is like stuff you could get right out of a dollar bin, so hopefully we'll get to something better. If I move quick, we can get to Detective Comics, and this is Defenders of the Earth, which was a Saturday morning cartoon put together by King Features, which owned all of these older newspaper comic strip characters like Mandrake and Flash Gordon and the Phantom, and then they gave them some teenage sidekicks, and they're going up against Ming the Merciless, and it was a Saturday morning cartoon, and that was the 90s or late 80s, I don't remember. It's under the Star imprint, which is Marvel, but it's their Kitty comic imprint. Okay, now we get to some good books. We have the Defenders #2. Now, I don't have Defenders #1, or I would have just shown it to you. I think I have the first appearance of the Defenders in Marvel Feature, though. They started, I think, in Marvel Feature. I could be wrong. Here's Defenders #3. See, we're in that wonderful 20-cent era. Oh, wow. Defenders 4. This wonderful Valkyrie cover. Okay. Then looks like I go up to Defenders number 9. And then it looks like I'm up to Defenders 13. This one doesn't have a bag and board. I really need to get more bags and boards. Oh, man. Look at that. Are the same people that would buy this interested in the Love Spray perfume? Hopefully not. Yeah. You ever heard of a Mexican restaurant named Pancho's? They had it in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I don't know how much of the country it's spread to. It's a very the design inside this Mexican restaurant is very cutesy, you know, kind of. But the thing about it is it's a Mexican buffet. So you go through a line and you get as much of the Mexican food as you want. And then you sit down, and then there's a little right by the condiments, there's a little Mexican flag. And when you want more, you raise the Mexican flag up. And then a waitress will come and you say, I want 3 more burritos, 2 tacos, and then they go and get you more and bring you another plate of food. And you can just keep. My brother, when he was in college and I was a 6th grader, would take me to Pancho's, and he was like John Belushi in Animal House. He would just keep inhaling this food, and I thought it was very admirable. Why am I talking about that? Because then later you pay the price. You pay the piper. And this is the face that you would make when you were sitting on the commode the next day after you ate at Pancho's. Oh my goodness, the value stamp is intact. As I always say, the 25-cent comic era, always check to make sure the value stamp's intact. I think the value stamp started in the very tail end of the 20-cent era. Here's a 2-page spread. Exciting. I'm not being sarcastic. It is exciting. I like this comic, man. I always sound sarcastic, don't I? Here, you need to hoard these gold coins since we're now officially in World War III. I'm sure glad I got the heck out of a major city. Yeah. You don't think we're in World War III? You'll find out soon. We're in World War III. And there was absolutely no reason for it. Or it could be World War II, actually. Because my father, he was in 7th grade, you know, I think when World War II started, right? And he was going to Catholic school. And this older nun, one of the teachers said, this isn't a new war. This is the same war from, let's see, that would have been about 20 years before. She was just saying this is a continuation of World War I. And I don't know when they started calling it World War I, because in 1941, when when the Japanese struck Pearl Harbor, I don't think they were calling it World War I, because why would you call it one when two hasn't happened yet? You know what I mean? I mean, it's like Jaws came out. They didn't call it Jaws 1. You know, because you don't know there's going to be a 2. I think they called it the Great War, didn't they? It was called the Great War. And then once the second one started, I don't know at what point during that war they started calling it World War II. I don't know. Anyway, her point was, this is not a new war. This is the same war, same people where we were fighting back in 1917. It just quieted down for a little bit, and it was just, and she had a good point. Maybe 1917 to 1945 was one big war. That was World War One, and although you did have a period of peace in the 20s and prosperity, I don't know. That was her point. So maybe we're entering into World War II with, just sending tanks over there and everything. But we shouldn't talk about that here on YouTube. They're so sensitive. Let's see, 15. Last time I was talking about Doom Patrol and the X-Men, and I was saying, well, as my wife was watching an interview with Glenn Danzig, who's kind of a comic book person, and very much a comic book person, who was saying Doom Patrol and the X-Men was a ripoff of Doom Patrol, and it was and I said, well, they both have leaders that are in wheelchairs, but there was more to it. I forgot that the main villains in X-Men were the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and in the Doom Patrol it was the Brotherhood of Evil. So this is a childhood copy. This is the first issue of Defenders I ever bought, so this is important. And it doesn't have a backing board, and I need to get a new bag and board for this, but I'm out of them. So this is an important, significant issue to me. I bought this issue as a youngster, that particular copy. Yeah. But you see, the thing is, they later changed it from the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants to the Brotherhood of Mutants, or just the Brotherhood, because if you really think about it, people usually, well, I used to say people usually don't think that they're evil. They think they're on the side of right and good, and so people wouldn't call themselves the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. We're not. They think they're the good guys, and the X-Men are the bad guys. So yeah, they took evil out of it. But I used to think that. Now I think there are people that really are just gloat in being evil. World Economic Forum type people, because they're Satan worshippers. And speaking of Satan, notice that here in issue 20, we start getting demons on the cover. By the end of the run of the Defenders, this was just a straight out demons on every cover. And I don't know, I guess, well, what point did Son of Satan join? Yeah, I mean, you have Doctor Strange, who's a sorcerer. Okay, and I guess this is about where Son of Satan's coming in. And pretty soon, I guess because you have several characters that are fighting against demonic forces, I mean, it's pretty much, the Defenders was a comic where there were demons all over the place. Here's the original Guardians of the Galaxy. I wonder if this new Guardians of the Galaxy movie is going to bring in the original Guardians of the Galaxy that they teased at the end of the last one. I think, as I recall, Stallone was one of them, but I don't know. Here's a great cover. Wow, that's a great cover. Defenders 27. That's great stuff. Ooh, this one's got some. This one could use a pressing. There's something. Oh well, issue 30. Yeah, I don't have a complete run. Oh, here's another issue of issue 30. This one's not bagged and boarded, so we can look inside it. Let's see if the value stamp is intact. Since it's here's the Hulk selling Hostess fruit pies. Yes, here's the Marvel Treasury editions. Yeah. You know, I understand, well, yeah, I probably should. The character of Valkyrie is, was, they changed her ethnicity in the movies, and they do a lot of changing of ethnicities and changing of men into women and women into men in these movies because they want to make them more diverse. But the Norse gods, the gods that the Vikings worshipped, it seems like that would be somewhere where there wouldn't be much diversity because the Vikings didn't really know of the. I don't think the Vikings knew that there were people that had different skin colors. I could be wrong because they were sailors, maybe. But I think that the gods that they worshipped would look kind of like Vikings, and that's kind of, and then in that last Thor movie that was miserable. I mean, all the gods of the Asgardians were all just very, very varied and different. There were Hispanic gods of and Asgardians, and just every race you can think of, Asian, and it just it didn't quite make sense because the Vikings wouldn't know about those other ethnicities. This is a pretty cool cover, man. Anyway, I think that the characters just need to be kept exactly as they are in the comics. There was a lot of diversity in the original comics. There's a lot of characters of different, because Stan Lee was big on that, and it's like this is they say that this is some new push, but as I remember Saturday morning cartoons. And the live action shows on Saturday morning when I was a kid, it's like there was tons of diversity. There was, I mean, in that show Arc 2, as I recall, there was there was this little vehicle that was going around after some apocalypse. You had just all the kids were in the Shazam show and ISIS. All the kids were Sesame Street. All that's what I remember from the '70s is that diversity was all there, and it wasn't really. It seems like they didn't rub our noses in it by changing characters. It was just all around. Oh well. What am I even doing here? Okay, I'm just looking at this amazing art. Okay, it's a 25. I guess I'm looking for the value stamp. Yes, indeed. Maybe there isn't one. Oh boy. Look at that. Rat-tat-tat-tat. Rat-tat-tat-tat, motherfuckers. 29. 29. 29, 30. Oh, this feels like I can, it feels a little stiffer, so I know it's got the cardboard insert in it, and I'm wrong. I thought it was going to be a Mark Jewelers variant, but I think what happened is just this little fold in the comic created the illusion it was. Never mind. What was her name on Saturday Night Live? Emily Latella. Never mind. That's when Saturday Night Live was actually funny. That was actually when Saturday night was an important night. There's going to be a Saturday Night. Can you imagine those? Hey, I already showed you these books, didn't I? What is going on? 7, 30. Oh, they're all out of order. That's the problem. I've got multiple copies and they're out of order. Well, it's a good thing. Okay, so I got 29. Okay, 27, 29, 30. Or did I just do this? 31, 33. Yeah, anyway, Saturday night was important. Then imagine just like tonight, John Belushi's going to be live. Who knows what he's going to do? So 34. Anyway, I just heard that someone was talking about John Belushi the other day. He would have been 74 now. I keep mentioning this every time I see this ad. I've never seen this this life-size Cornelius. Or is he supposed to be? No, he's supposed to be Galen. Not that there's any difference. Same actor, same makeup, same exact performance, Galen, and I've seen on YouTube someone bought some old comic boxes and someone had these stickers on them, but I've never seen those in real life. Yes, indeed. Yeah, I never got that either. I don't know why. The Spider-Man versus Superman. Why didn't I get that? Oh, look, a Firesign Theater reference. I think we're all bozos in this book. The Firesign Theater record was I think we're all bozos on this bus. Firesign Theater was some DJs from California radio station that put together a comedy troupe. They did this humorous stuff on their channel, on their radio station, and then they formed a group that put out a bunch of albums. It was like Harvey Kurtzman's Mad, mixed with a little bit of the 60s counterculture, and it's very, you can just listen to the stuff for free on YouTube, like everything's on YouTube. 40. Oh boy. This looks pretty good. Look at her flying out the window. 40. How about that? We're up to the 30-cent era. 41. Yeah, so they have this Howard the Duck ad, and then they have Howard lives. We're not talking about Howard the Duck. That's Robert E., not the duck. Yes, indeed. Oh, the good old days. 40, 41. Ooh, this looks like a Jack Kirby cover. 43. Another 43? How amazing. Monster-sized monsters. Oh, yeah. John Buscema taught a class in comic art. John Buscema wants new students. New York class in comic book art. Also a new course in comic book writing. Stan Lee, guest lecturer. I wonder if that was in a college or they just rented a room like in a Holiday Inn and did that. There's authentic collector's items for Star Trek. Yeah, and I never got this Howard the Duck #1, but they reprinted it in this Treasury edition. I'm sorry, I'm not opening my eyes. It just felt like I had an eyelash in my eye. I used to have these long eyelashes. I don't know. And women would say, I love your eyelashes. I wish I had eyelashes like that. And it's like, that's not really what you want to hear as a guy. But they're not long anymore. It's a weird thing. I don't know. I guess it happened with age. So anyway, they would be a problem. I used to wear contact lens. And the eyelashes would be like a Venus flytrap. They would, kind of bat down. It would be hard to get the damn contact lens in. But then sometimes an eyelash would fall off and it would get into the eye. It would be so terrible to have an eyelash in your eye. But Aquaman taught me, and I'm serious. You know, they used to have these little educational moments on Super Friends. How many copies do I have of 43? 1, 2, 3. I have 3 copies of 43. Here's a really cool cover, 45. Anyway, Aquaman, they had a little bumper as they went into the commercials. They would teach you things, and like if you ever got a piece, you know, you're on the playground, something gets in your eye. Aquaman told us it's on Saturday morning to grab your eyelid by the eyelashes and lift it and put it over the lower eyelid, and it would cause your eye to tear up and wash out whatever debris got in your eye. So I'd do that, and it would cause my eye to tear up. And so that's what I was trying to do, and I felt... So everything's comic book related here on the Garage to Our Love channel. But probably not for long, because once I show you all these comics, I don't know what else to show you, you know. I can trick you into showing you the same comics over and over again, which is what I'm doing right now, because I've shown you all these, I think, before. You know, and I don't really want this just to be a comic book channel. I never really did. This has got Moon Knight in it, so it's a highly valuable collectible. Oh, shit. It probably is to some moron. Anyway, Moon Knight, everyone started speculating, and I thought that TV show was terrible. I couldn't take it anymore. And my wife says, we need to get back and finish watching Moon Knight, because she doesn't know it was terrible because she's never read the comic. And I just couldn't take it. And it's like, I guess I'll have to finish watching that at some point with her. Damn. Here's another copy that this one must be from... I think that Diamond meant it's from Diamond Distributors, that it's a direct distribution book. See the difference in these 2 copies of the same issue. I think that's how they first did it when it was direct distributed. I get confused because sometimes that diamond shaped part indicated it was from a sealed 3-pack that would be sold like in a 5 and dime store or something. Here's Defenders 48. Well, at some point, I keep saying it became like a devil comic, and then I swear it will become that soon. Okay, here's Defenders 49, which looks like I've got a couple of copies of Defenders 49. It has a great cover. Oh yeah, I love this Marie Severin Hulk illustration. Little shades of her old Not Brand Eck art. Yeah, this is great. This is fantastic, man. They don't make them like this anymore. 49. And at this point, she's joined. And this is big number 50. Yeah, Hulk stayed with the Defenders a lot longer than he ever did with the Avengers. I mean, he was barely in the Avengers for just a few issues. 51, Nighthawk. You ever had Nighthawk frozen dinners? They're really good. It was a restaurant. You think I'm insane, don't you? Nighthawk was a restaurant in San Antonio, Texas that my mother always talked about loving as a little girl. So I don't know if they still have any actual Nighthawk restaurants, but the food that was in Nighthawk is now in frozen dinners that you can get at your local grocery store. Nighthawk. It really isn't related to this character of Nighthawk. There's no Nighthawk speculation. I don't think they're intending to put him in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Nighthawk. He's a cool character. Someone was it Metarog? It's someone was talking about how Nighthawk is like their favorite character of all time. It was either Nighthawk. It was Nighthawk. It was either Metarog or Silver Ridge Dave or one of the cool. A lot of the people that has Metarog done some videos lately? I haven't noticed. I need to look him up. Silver Age Dave, I looked him up yesterday. He hasn't done a video in like 6 months. And when I first started noticing comic book people on YouTube, some of the first people that I watched, they don't do videos that often. And apparently I was saying a few episodes back, I wish people would start making episodes. I wish every one of you that watches this would just get your phone and turn it on and just start recording yourself. It's very easy to upload this stuff to YouTube. If it wasn't, then I wouldn't be able to do it. This is issue 53. So I just want more people that really love comics to be... when I watch some of these shows, I'm supposed to be relaxing, and instead it just upsets me and pisses me off. These people that are more into the comics just for the speculation, or for it's just like prize, big game prize hunting. This is a great cover. 62 kind of reminds me of one of the Captain America covers where he's kind of in a similar agonized pose. Or is he yawning? Can't tell. It kind of looks like when I woke up this morning. I think he's in agony, but it kind of looks like he's yawning. But he's surrounded by all these characters. It's cool. Okay, so that's 62. Oh my goodness, here's another copy of 62 that's not bagged and boarded. Not in very good shape either. I forgot that Marvel did a Beatles book. Because they thought, well, if Kiss sold well, we ought to do a Beatles one. And yeah, I remember that. I never bought the Beatles one. Yeah, this book's in shitty shape. I'm glad I have that other one. Oh, wait, there's another 62. I have 3 copies. 63. 63. See, there's this cool character, a Black Goliath, that they don't use. Instead, let's just turn Captain America and make the Falcon Captain America. And it's like, but the Falcon was a cool character. Why? Well, they did it in the comic, but just get rid of all the characters that the audiences that go to the movie theaters enjoy. Get rid of Iron Man. Kill everyone. Apparently, I think they're gonna kill off Star-Lord probably, and they're probably gonna kill off most of the Guardians of the Galaxy in the next movie, because James Gunn wants, he has kind of a repertory. It's like John Waters or David Lynch. He likes to use the same actors and over again, or Scorsese, So he's going to be bringing all of his people over to play characters in the DC universe. All of his actors, more than likely, I would bet. I would bet on that, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, this is a fantastic cover. Fantastic. Number 66. Very good cover. '67. Oh man, I've got a bunch of copies of 68. 68. Oh, look at this full-page ad for Master of Kung Fu. Full-page ad for the Micronauts. Is that the first run of Micronauts? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I like the Micronauts. There are characters that can't be reprinted, Micronauts and ROM and Transformers, because they were based on toy lines, which Marvel doesn't have rights to anymore. You're 70. So the only way to get those books is to actually buy the actual physical books, which morons call floppies. I would never call a comic book a floppy. Defenders 73. I need to check to see if it starts snowing yet. Here's another one of those crucifixion covers. 81. There's one of Swamp Thing crucified, and here's the Hulk crucified one. I just had these people that have cover challenges. It's like we should have the top 10 crucifixion covers. Oh man, that would be a great episode. There's one of a hippie, isn't there one, a Green Lantern, Green Arrow comic with a hippie crucified? It looks like Jesus. And so there's one. There's the Swamp Thing crucified, which, was that actually on a Swamp Thing book, or was that on some other title? I don't remember. Then there's, what other crucifixion covers can you think of, ladies and gentlemen? Although that would be kind of blasphemous. If I filmed that episode as a parody of everyone else's, that would I'd probably get struck by lightning. I don't know if I want to do that. That's not tasteful, but it's just like, but what's not tasteful is how does an editor say, okay, and approve the Hulk being crucified? I know that was a common form of execution in Roman times and before, but today we associate crucifixion with one, in one way, with one particular character, historical person, we associate that with the Son of God. Let's be, I don't want to be politically correct. Let's face it, he's the Son of God. And despite the fact that I might curse sometimes on this show, I'm a Christian and I hate evil, and which is why the people governing us right now and are part and creating most of the entertainment industry, if not all of it right now, are a bunch of Satan worshipers, and it's disgusting. And you can say, oh, we're up against Marxists, we're up against this and that. No, we're up against satanic forces. All of this is there's another 90. What's behind all of this? It's good versus evil. Ultimately, good will win, but I think we're going to be living through a few Cuban Missile Crisis kind of scares. I think that's coming up because they're backing, keep backing a nuclear power into a corner. Keep poking the bull, you're gonna get the horns. It's like we're sending tanks over there, and a bunch of countries. Canada's now sending some tanks over. How about staying out of it? I guarantee you that no one at your workplace, if you brought out a globe, could tell you where the Ukraine is. I bet you if you went into your local shopping mall, might be 2,000 people in there tonight, not a single person could point out to you on a map where the Ukraine is. I don't know that I could. Probably, maybe, I'd like to think I could, but, but they can sure put that little flag on their Facebook profile. I support this. It's the new thing to support. Okay, we're up to 96. I think this comic went up to 150. Oh, now we're getting into the devil stuff. Because now we got Ghost Rider joining. So it's really getting to be a lot of... So we got, I think Ghost Rider, or is he just guest starring? There's another copy of that. But anyway, I think now that we have Son of Satan in here, see, we're going to start, now we have, angelic beings and stuff. Nice. Oh, that's Man-Thing. Okay. Another copy of the same one. Got a lot of multiple copies of Defenders in here. Here's 99. This is it, Defenders, the final conflict. Now they're in hell fighting. Oh, and they've got the gargoyle. It scared me. The only time that wrestling clock talks is when there's light on in the room, so I normally don't hear it. But when I turn on the light there in the kitchen, I start hearing the, shut your mouth, jabroni. It's a wrestling clock from the 90s. It's really very entertaining. Right about 5 o'clock, when dinner's being cooked, it'll shout out, can you smell what the Rock is cooking? But the best one is whatever evil wrestler, I don't know if it's Kane or... He says, my creatures of the night will feast upon the flesh of your corpse. That's always a great thing to have come out of your clock. Oh, it must be 8 o'clock because the creatures of the night are going, it's time for them to feast on the flesh of my corpse. 104. 105. See, comics are starting to get uglier at this time period. They just aren't as cool looking as they were in the... Are we still in the Bronze Age? I don't know. The Bronze Age is supposed to go through 85. I don't know. I have different opinions about that. My universe, things are different. 110. I kind of don't want to miss out on snow. 110, so I kind of wanted to go check it and see if it's snowing. To the Devil, a Daughter. Yeah, everything's devilly in these. Yeah, we're starting to get into the devil years. Oh, another copy. Okay, 112. $115. 116. See, it's just like a Satan comic now, and I think the rest of the run it's going to be that way. 117. 121. The pentagram on his chest. 122. The art style kind of changes around this time. This is a cool cover. 124. Oh, this is when it becomes the New Defenders. Not the Nude Defenders, but the New Defenders. It starts looking New Mutants-like. I get 2 copies of that. Then it's 127. Oh, 128. Sorry. 132. 133. There's another copy of 133. 134. This artist likes to stretch people out. Look how he stretched out Valkyrie. 135. Remember how stretched out Deadpool was on the first cover, where Deadpool's first appearance. He's so stretched out, it's ridiculous. 136. No, there's nothing devilly about this at all. Looks like I missed 137. Here's 138. Then I go to 144, 146. Oh, look at this patriotic cover. 147. Looks like they've got Sergeant Rock in here somehow. 148. 149. 150. These are very common books. I mean, it's, you can get these easily. 151. This art looks like it was done by a British person. Kevin. Okay, 152. That's not an insult. It just, there's a certain, you look at art done by Japanese artists, so you can immediately tell it's Japanese. And so, okay, and this is the last issue, 152, with this. They're fighting wow, they're fighting a demon. That's very unusual. Okay. I think that's it for this box. Lid. I'm gonna go see if it's snowing. Well, I got to do a lot of work today around the house. There's a lot of things that I need to do. Well, it's not snowing. It's supposed to snow tonight. There's still some snow on the ground from, but yes, indeed. Well, it's a little too cold to be outside in a t-shirt, so let's go back in and take that Defenders box back to the other room. I just can't find it. Maybe I left the lid in the other room. I think that's the case. And I think the Saturday morning cartoons have started, and I'm missing them. Okay. Okay. Lid, lid, lid. this box is DC Comics Presents. Okay. Okay. That's Conan. Box lid. Okay, what is this? Conan. Excellent. Okay, that's that. And then this must be the Raven the Bold. Shit. What's next? This box that has, yeah, this will be next. Okay. All right. I think we're going to get to Detective Comics today, unless the phone runs out of memory, which it probably will. Get rid of long boxes, man. It's if you can afford to do it. It's cheaper than going to the chiropractor, man. All these long boxes. I put all my Silver Age, my good comics, into short boxes. But these are not the good comics that we're looking at. Well, some of them are. The early Bronze Age books are good. I started to get into a rant on the Four Color Fossils show the other night, and it probably wasn't the right place to do that. But I'll do another version of it now, and that was talking about a problem that it's called OCD, Obsessive Compulsive Disorder. They say it's something that usually happens to people that are high IQ, you know. So I don't know why I wound up with it, but I'm just self-deprecating him. But it's a problem that collectors tend to have. Now, collectors, well, there's a type. I don't know. I'm no psychologist, psychiatrist, but you know, there's different forms of autism, and there was one called Asperger's. Now they say Asperger's doesn't exist, but I used to talk online to a girl on years before I was married, to a girl online that had Asperger's, and I'd call her my girlfriend. I never met her in person. You know, someone that lived on the other side of the country. It's one of those stupid things, you know. But anyway, she was obsessed with Universal monsters and monster stuff and comic books. She was into all this stuff, right? But she and music, you know, the Cramps, and what was it? She was really into Morrissey. But anyway, she had this obsessive focus and knowledge of this stuff. And I looked up the signs that you have Asperger's, and it's like, gee, I have all of those. You know, I don't. It's hard for me to keep eye contact with people when I'm talking to them, and I'm shy, and just to check off every single, man, maybe I have Asperger's too. I think a lot of collectors have almost every one of this, so it might be just what what collectors are. But I don't know about that. I know that I did have obsessive compulsive disorder, and maybe you always have it, like alcoholism. You never really get rid of it, you just control it. My mother had it. She would wash her hands to the point where they would look like Boris Karloff, the mummy, cracking. And then I had two brothers. One, both about 10, 11 years older than me, but the older brother passed away. He didn't have obsessive compulsive disorder. He refused. He was this tall guy. He looked like a movie star to me. He was like a cross between Chevy Chase and John Wayne or something. And then my middle brother, both of them were in the Army. And then my middle brother, who was airborne and later in the Coast Guard, well, he developed obsessive compulsive disorder, where he would. This wasn't his whole life, but there was a period there, I remember, in the 90s, he'd walk into the room and all of a sudden you'd smell this overpowering smell of Lysol, because he carried a piece of paper towel in his pocket drenched in Lysol. And then when he opened a door, he would use that paper towel Lysol to open the door because he didn't want to touch the doorknob. My mother said, well, he heard about Howard Hughes and how he was that way, and then he, just this fear of germs, whatever. But OCD takes different forms, like maybe I'm never going to take this out of the bag because I don't want to touch this book. I don't want it, it happens, I think, in times of great stress. You have attacks of OCD, and I remember when I was in school, I was under a lot of stress. And I remember 6th, 7th grade, I would just keep checking under my desk before I left at the end of the day to make sure I had all my books, that I hadn't forgotten something. And you would, some people, it's just, I can't step on the cracks on the sidewalk because it will break my mother's back. It starts with shit like that. I remember around 1976, I would wash my hands, and then I would start going to the other room, and then I'd go back and wash my hands again. Then I'd go back and wash my hands again, and it's like, now my wife notices, you don't wash your hands very long. You just barely put soap on it and rinse them off, and it's like, that doesn't clean your hands. And it's like, maybe I'm fighting against that. Like my oldest brother fought against it, because I think it's an inherited characteristic, because I think my oldest brother was, he'd pick up a book and touch it, and the ink would just be completely gone from the spot he touched it. But anyway, this industry, the comic book industry, preys on people with OCD. That's why they give us all these multiple covers, and you just okay. So this is Giant Size Defenders. You got to fight against it. Sheer force of will, guys. Don't let this shit take you down. Don't stress about, oh, I don't have, like that Defenders run. I could get stressed. I don't have every single issue in the run. It's like, well, I probably never will, because I need to eat. And, don't let your OCD get you into debt or in trouble with your family or, your spouse or whatever. This is supposed to be fun. Oh, this is, I got this. I must have gotten this. See, that's one of those double comics. This is a good store. If you live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, this store collected comics. Now they're 11 hours away, so I'm not going to be going there anytime soon. But now Gotham City Comics in Mesa, Arizona is kind of becoming my local comic shop, because he lets me know when he gets cool stuff in, and And he must have a whole short box of stuff on hold for me. I've got to, if I could just get about $30-40 free when I get paid in a few days, I'll try to give him a call and get some of that stuff sent to me. But he just was showing me there's a Great Garloo. I think it's very small, but there's a really cool new Great Garloo toy coming out where he's kind of on all fours like a gorilla that he just saw in the previews. Here's Giant Size Defenders number 5 with Guardians of the Galaxy. So that's in the wrong spot. Oh no, the annual's in the wrong spot. Oh, all these are out of order, man. No, I showed you that. I showed you 2. Anyway, if you have OCD, fight against it with all your might. Don't let it take you down. Your mind is very powerful, and your mind is fucking with you, and just don't let it do that. Okay, now I'm to some shitty garbage. I bought this for 50 cents. It's like the Defenders number 7, and I just thought, well, what did I think? I don't know. Interior art's a little odd. Oh, Comic Crypt of Castle Hills just put up Sammy Hagar concert memories from February of '79. These little notifications pop up at the top of the screen. Yeah, this is a modern comic with a black border. Again, my theory about the black border is they're trying to simulate the feel of being in a movie theater. And then there's this comic, The Secret Defenders, which I assume is 90s due to the flashiness, you know, the flashy shit. And then there's Secret Defenders I need to put in here where they're all covered in bugs. But then there's the Defenders of Dynatron City, which is Defender. I had some of this Defenders of Dynatron set, another copy of this before the Defenders. Now I've got one after the Defenders. Okay, now we move into something cool. From the early days of the Bronze Age, here's the Demon #1, Jack Kirby at DC Comics. So this was a comic that, there's a lot of demon shit in these comics, isn't there? It's like more than you realize. Here's another copy of Demon #1. Here's, oh, I don't have Demon #3. I'm not going to OCD about that. I won't allow myself to. Here's #3. What I am OCDing about is I have that damn All-Star Comics with the first boobs, tits, first fucking fucking shit. The Supergirl with the boobs, with the window boobs, the alternate Supergirl. I have that first. I have that, and I bought it when it was new. It looks brand new, and I can't even. I can't find it anywhere. So to the point where here's Demon #6, where I'm thinking of buying another copy because it's driving me crazy. And the move brought out the OCD. I had a long list of things I thought I was going to have to collect on insurance. I found the vast majority of them. A couple of things I think were actually thrown away by, not by me during the move, because people just didn't want to pack them. Oh man, why can't I think of her stupid name? The Power Girl. Which is not kind of a lame name, but she's a cool character. 10. Hey, that's blasphemy. He said Power Girl isn't a cool thing. I don't know. Maybe it is. 11. I'm just getting a bad mood talking about that OCD and how that fucked up my life, man. 11. Yeah, you got to be careful of that stuff. 12. 13. Oh no, another 12. I have multiple copies of these. Used to be able to get these really cheap, you know, and I'd pick them up because they were amazing. Maybe you can't get them cheap anymore. I don't know. There's another copy of 13. I have no idea. You have to ask Comic Tom about that. 16. Another copy of 16. Okay, and then what is this? Why, it's a it's a Simon Beasley Demon cover. Oh, we've gotten into Detective Comics right about the time that usually right about an hour, 20 minutes into the show, it just ends. Here's Detective Comics number 38. It's a reprint from Toys R Us, and it doesn't even reprint the whole comic. First appearance of Robin. My good Detective Comics are going to be in the Silver Age boxes, and there's some Golden Age. I think a few Golden, not really. I have this original real comic in the other boxes, which I'll be glad to show you. This is a Toys R Us replica. It doesn't reprint the whole comic. It's just like one part of it. Okay, so my first Bronze Age Detective Comics is 426. Really needs a bag and board. He's playing Russian roulette. It's a big trend in comics there for a while to have the heroes killing themselves or dead or being run out of town, having rocks thrown at them, just on every cover, because it's almost like they were embarrassed to have these patriotic heroes at DC. The Flash was really bad about it. He was dead on every cover for a while. That's what happens when these hippies take over, right? And this is Batman with a gun shooting, which is a beautiful cover. And of course, you may not find this unusual, but Batman, you're supposed to find it unusual, because Batman doesn't, see, it says, why has the Batman who has sworn never to use a gun turned into an assassin? See, I don't think that Zack Snyder or Tim Burton or these people that make these Batman movies have ever read that, no, Batman has sworn never to use a gun because his parents were killed with a gun. They forget that. They have guns built into the Batmobile, and Batman just shooting people indiscriminately, blowing people up with bombs and stuff. 429. Yeah, see, we're getting into some good books now. I told you if you just were patient enough, we would get into some good books. Frank Ross.